Hey people, I'm going to show y'all some evidence of this huge conspiracy to change history and language origins in which Wikipedia is in compliance with. I thought about this the other day when I found this word R, and it means darkened black. It's the ancient Egyptian word or, meaning black. And they'll tell you in the etymology of this word it comes from the Spanish barbacoa, which is a form of cooking meat that originated in the Caribbean. The etymologists believe it to be derived from the barbecue found in the language of the Arawak people, the ancient Florida people. And the Oxford English Dictionary traces the word to Spanish and translates it as a framework of sticks set up on posts. The French will tell you it comes from a word meaning from beard to tail. In English it has two spellings, and one of them is the original Hebrew spelling. And you find the word in Exodus 38 in this altar of burnt offerings. He made the altar of burnt offerings of wood, acacia. You wouldn't build an altar out of wood if you're going to burn something on it. And its length was 5, and its width was square, and its 3 high. And he made its horns on 4 corners, and were of one piece of the horns with it. And he overlaid it with bronze. And he made all utensils, the altar, the pans, and the shovels, and the basins, the forks, and the fire pans. All utensils he made of bronze. And he made for the altar a great work of net bronze. It had a bronze net in there under its rim. From the bottom to midway, it was adjustable. It would go from the bottom to midway. And he cast 4 rings for 4 of the corners of the grate in bronze as holders for the poles. And so that would be to make it portable while it was still hot. But you can see the purpose of this right here. It's the barbecue Wats. The barbecue's what. And so this what at the end, this means the word is a verb. And so it's what does the verb of the barbecue. And so I would say that this word means, in, blacken, of, the cuts what. In blacken of the cuts what. But everything that has to do with a barbecue comes from this base word they say is for, arbo. You got to give it the dry rub. And then halfway cooking, you got to turn it over, turn your word over, read it from the other side. So let me read what this Hebrew says down to this 5th line here. And why as Adam's bitch hole accesstum comes what ark. And so this would be the bitch hole. If it goes in here, it's hot. It's got a little door to feed your fire and to adjust the airflow, the oxy. Why as Adam's bitch hole accesstum comes what ark. And the ark is a fire. When I arc weld, it throws out a lot of sparks. That's where your word spark come from. And so while you're cooking, you might see some sparks coming out the oxy vent in the bitch hole. So in the field, we'll call that a torch. It don't matter if it's gas or electric. If it's fire blowing out of it, it's a torch. And so you'll see them, they change these words up. They mix them up. This could be cubits, or they'll say it means the length most of the time. And the same as this one. They say it means cubit most of the time. But I learned reading the Egyptian that when you double up the consonants, that the second one becomes an I. And so this is where I'm getting the Y. And the ark Y mean the ark who. And so if you're fluent in the Boone language, you just read this as, why is Adam's bitch hole accesstum? The wood, the tree, the axe, accesstum. Comes what a torch, whichums what rich verb, wowzels, WOWSLS, wowzels what, them what come to. Why as meaning who as, what as, and what is Adam's bitch hole, accestum, comes him a torch, whichums, am what rich burb, wowsels, am what come to. And so rich burb, that's like a suburb where everybody's rich, and you done throwed fire to the grill. So why is Adam's bitch hole, accestum, comes a torch, you done lit up the grill, and whichum's what rich burb, the people from rich burb, wowsels, what come to, and they come to. Why is corn to all? Corn is the product that feeds the nation, and it's represented by the cornucopia, and so that's the shaped like a horn, and so whatever product that nation's fat in, whatever it has most, that's the corn of that nation. Whatever product feeds the people, and so it may be vegetable, may be animal. And why as corn to all are bopping to, and so it's the horn here, and the why is horn to all are bopping to. From in, the double M becomes a M-I-N, from in view of V-E-I-W. And so V-E-I-W is the view as in looking back at. And so they down here in New Orleans, and while the barbecue's going on, why as the horn to all are bopping to from in view. Everybody in view is bopping to the horn. And so corn, means to, I have plenty, corn, and the corn too. And so it's the horn, it means to holler out to everybody, hey, I got plenty for everybody. Why has corn to? Who has corn to? And so it means, I have plenty, but has also put it out on the horns for everybody to hear loudly. And why is horn to all are bopping to? And so the horns also playing the music. They hear a party going down, a Mexican party, and the horns is playing. They hear it down in the corner, and all are bopping to. And from in view, or bopping to 'em in view. And so the horns are found at the front of, and that's the front of, and that's where these horns are coming from. This is the same symbol, and it's the wren. It's where your word children come from, and friend. And so it means that in view, the front of, and the second vav is the I. And so it's a yet spat, a nest. And so the ones dancing up in the front have yet spat a nest. They're single. And it's coming from this Egyptian symbol, for wren, rent, and trend, and friend, or parent. So Egypt's cornucopia was women, You got your friend, your girlfriend, and a hooker, would be for rent. This is your condom. You better wear your condom. That's who was out there in front. And why is horn to all or bopping to 'em? In view, front of, yet spat a nest, hasn't yet spat a nest, the virgins. And why is it called, what we should call this, and why is it called a Cleum's bitchatizer? That's the name of the party. It's a Cle, to connect to the Cle, them's a bitch, atism, atizer, a Cleobitchumatizer, a Sunday party. A Cleobitchumatizer twat, T-W-A-T, to at, the twat. The Cleom's bitchumatizer twat. The joy, the joyum, J-O-Y-M. What the joyum? What'um's rift atoms legit. Riff is your pickup line, that little rift. And what'um's rift at at them's legit, and my rap's legit. And what'em's matched, the one you're gonna matched up with, and the match to fire it up. And what'em's matched, the second T reading as ICL, magical or matchtical. And what'em's matchtical clue, a nail, a hook to attach. The clue as in chest. The clue is in the chest, which was where the virgins are. The ones who haven't yet, the nest. The clue was in chest. Why Aslam's bitchum coverum, as a restin chastit, crackenum limit had checks of. And so they're getting this, and he made for the altar a great work of net bronze. But it's talking about a burqa. Why as Islam's bitchum coverum has arrested, has taken off the burqa, arresting chast, and itched, the second T becoming an I, itched, and the resting chast itched, and the crackenum limit, the under from the bottom, under its rim from the bottom, the crackenum limit had the checks, when you go checking up underneath the burqa, under its rim from the bottom, the checks of. But it's talking about more than two things here. It says many things, but even on the top, just the same words say the same thing. And why as the lamb's bitch, whatever goes on top of the grill is the lamb, whatever. If it's corn, it's lamb on the grill, What's going up on the altar is the lamb's bitch. And why is lamb's bitch from cover? You cover it up. Anytime you cooking, you cover it up. And the coverum who's the rest in, and leave it there in chast, covered, virgin, don't mess with it. And yet the second T here becoming a Y, Y-E-T, in chast yet crackenum, and crackenum will emit had the checks of. And it's forbodden, it's forbidden, and it's forbodden at Barba the cute swat, at Barba the cute swat. The lamb cover in chest, to bury the lamb in the chest, the lamb cover in chest, in time will bid 'em. So give the lamb time, lamb cover in chest, in time will bid 'em. Time will come. So I showed before, this word, that it was the top of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Bible. This was the title of it. And they just say it's the Torah, and they cut it off there. But what it's saying, is it's in the language of boonies. And it means the Torah of the city, and the Torah evictable boonies. I could have did without evictable. The Torah I could have did without my boonies. And it means the Torah of the city. So the first 5 books here is talking about what you see on the wall in the city. And so everybody knows that Thoth wrote all this. And up in the king's palace, boy, them girls get hot and itchy and rip the burqa off. So the story is he come from Atlantis when it sunk, and he ended up in Egypt. Or maybe he was astral projecting to the Memphis barbecue fest these days. Or maybe he's talking about exactly what was going on in Egypt 6,000 years ago. Nothing's changed. But what I do know is that the language is still our same language. So I don't believe this R means black. I believe it just means like dark. It's where char comes from. But this is saying a lot more to me with all the numbers up here. And it's explained to me a little more about what the numbers in the first page of the Bible, the days, meant. And so as you're learning the secrets to read, on the third day you get the wowsels. On the fourth, usually just the R bow, that's when you learn to read over, to learn to read backwards. And on the fifth is when it comes and you learn to blend it all together. And I'm going to cut this off here because this made me real hungry. Good day.